One more game of Miramar, and then it is down to the final two. Let's find out who's going to jump ahead. Yes, it may be FaZe Sunday, and they've certainly pushed themselves up into a far better position, but there are plenty of others looking to do the same, Rich.
We'll see where the first flight path does come in any second now. We'll see where we're going. We'll be going on the sunny shores of Miramar. Right now, as you can see, that's group 10. Okay, let's pull it back for a second. This looks like potentially a remake. So, we'll hold on for now.
I think we do, obviously, coming into this, as much as we can hype it up, we do want to make sure the teams are prepared. We don't want to have any missed starts, misfires. We want to make sure all the players are comfortable. This is the final day for them. So again, if it takes a couple more seconds here and there, we're going to be calm and relaxed, like Twitch chat probably will be right now, calm and relaxed.
It's grand finals. We're just making it go on longer. Get the NA viewership. That's the plan. I see where we're going with this one.
Yeah, very smart.
Players, that flight path's actually in, so I can see the countdown. So they've not actually gone just yet. So that looks like the restart has come through. We'll be going again any second, all being well. Really quickly though, let's touch on the biggest issue at hand here. For teams that are very good on Miramar, Lauren, there's only one more game of it left. And that goes for the entirety of the Kickoff Cup. We're going to be down to 2 maps of Avangar once this is all said and done. So, Froz's beautiful little bit of homework that he did and put together. Teams that are extremely good on Miramar usually. The best one, ironically, is actually 7. They have an average placement of 4.8 with an average kill ratio of 6. That's a pretty decent KDA per game. Next to them, Liquid. Well, ironically, it's your number 1 and number 2 team. Would you believe it? Third is actually FaZe. And it is FaZe Sunday. So, unfortunately, for all the teams that want to make a bit of a jump here on the leaderboard, they have to do some damage for these teams. The top 3, this is essentially their strongest map. I say that it's almost identical when we look across Avangar as well, especially for 7 and Liquid. But if they want to stop FaZe, that's kind of what's going to be on people's minds now. The higher you can climb up that table, the more money you're going to be walking home in your pocket. So if you can do some damage to FaZe, if you can box them out, if you can catch them at a choke point or an intersection on a road, then you're going to give yourself a little bit of a hand in that table and maybe even a peg up above them.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, though, this, I'm not going to believe it until I see it consistent. We all know that FaZe have capabilities of winning games. I don't think anyone's going to sit there and say otherwise. It's can they replicate this again with this many players alive? It was always that win condition that we kind of said at the start is, do they have 4 players standing? If they do, then it's game time. And they did. I do believe it is time to jump in, so thank you for your patience. Now we get to see that playing path. Now we get to see the plan in mind. And we'll see if any of the teams who kind of got shuffled around below Team Liquid can continue that form going forward.
So this will be a weird and wonderful one and rather interesting. These teams that like to play off the back of Campo Militante, or Bronca, Cruz de Val, even up to LSI, you'll sometimes see your Tornado Energy, your Avangar. The question is, where do they go now? Who do they clash heads with? The more teams you have dropping around you, even if they don't drop directly on top of you, just being in your vicinity or in your rotational path becomes a hazard in itself, and that's what we've been saying and been seeing from FaZe Clan. They lose people and lose individual players early through the start of the game. We even saw in Avangar, the final game of Avangar, I think day number 1 of the grand finals, where unfortunately Avangar had to reposition. They're now on the opposite end. They'll be playing the trash tier loop from Trailer Park. Maybe they go to Alcantara, 2 of them. But for instance, if you look to Azverin and Snoopy, out in no man's land for FaZe, for Tornado Energy, maybe even potential for the Jokers here. They've essentially got enemies behind their lines, and they have to be aware that Avangar could rotate from anywhere and cause them problems.
Wow.
The circle is actually good for them.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Okay, well.
Very rare that happens.
Ignore everything I've just said. Literally ignore everything I've just said. They're going to be sitting happy.
Yeah, it's very rare, and they have complete safety on their back. It's, again, very, very rare. You do not often see it playing so well to teams playing extremities like that, especially as they've been pushed to it. But they now have suddenly a big step up under the assumption that they do not kind of get complacent. It's very easy to forget that teams can rock up quite early with scouts potentially if they do have, Snoopy and Azverin, as we said, in quite isolated places. There is a chance that potentially teams could pressure that. Now, I can imagine in their heads they won't fall for that sort of problem, but this also pays well for FaZe, keep in mind. They've also got a good step into this one.
you look on the grid here on your right-hand side, look at the letter C all the way in the north. That's pretty much the final entry point into the circle and as far north as you are going to go. And because we have this denial of area of this western embankment, this cliff face, pretty much just to where Se7en is on the western front, we've essentially lost about 40% of the circle, or at least an entry point into it. So for some of these teams that are thinking preemptively and out of the box, there is a time here to pick up some easy frags. Where's going to be a very unique choke point? Where's a bottleneck on this map? Or a unique... I say that the main roads, generally speaking, these players are smart enough to avoid the main roads. But then they have to be preemptive of where you'll be setting up on the dirt roads, on the back tracks for the rotations through the circle. So, and the simple fact that the playing path did go across this, and we have already teams in El Pozo, you know you're going to have FaZe Clan kicking it around Monte Nuevo. Maybe like what I said off the back of we are away from Campo Militar, for example, Avangar could have switched things up in a different position. Teams are already going to be here and set up and prepared to welcome players with open arms. And this is where it gets a little bit dangerous. There are so many little points of entry into this one. You have to be careful on the approach.
Yeah, this is going to be... I'm waiting to see the scouts start heading in. I think, you know, in the next couple of seconds. Obviously, if you're quite far away, you're going to be doing that. FaZe are already bringing themselves together. Oh, don't do this now, Uber.
If this happens, like when I mentioned...
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming through. And he's already gone. FaZe losing out on a player to start with. A little lackluster to take those main roads around. Even with... They know that Avangar are down there. They probably know exactly their loot routes. But you still have to be so meticulous and cautious at this point. Ence just parking up in style.
We actually theorized that it might not happen because the playing path was over the circle. But what did we say? Avangar being chucked into the middle of nowhere and playing off the back of the trash loot. You don't expect one player just to be kicking it down there. FaZe pay the price. They lose one player instantly in under 5 minutes into the game. And then we'll continue with a three-man stack. The next to approach the challenge will be Team Liquid on your screens at the moment. They're just skirting the edges of Monte Nuevo. There is a potential that they either hold back here and maybe watch for the stragglers and the slow rotators, or they will continue forward.
I'd feel with the area they begin their loot in that they may want to go more central, especially on this southeastern side where the circle is more likely to end up to a degree. Tornado Energy running in towards Avangar, and Avangar are not doing well today. Losing out on a player this early, Se7en goes down. Some of those teams really vying for the top spots, suffering early on. The next team just is like, I'm a dumpster baby, and I go. But for now, he's fine. He can get a heal off Snoopy in the distance, trying to get there as fast as he can, but it's too little too late. And Team Liquid are going to get a nice little foothold here. Wherever they decide to go, they might end up going in towards Na'Vi, the Jokers potentially. All the teams that normally have to play those extremities, go those long rotation routes, actually have a really good step this time.
Hats off to Team Liquid. They're playing exactly how they normally would. This is no different of a game to them. They could, in theory, if they wanted to, completely just disregard everything they've been doing normally, because they've won this event. Let's be real here. They're so far in front, it would take a miracle for anybody to catch them, and they will have to basically bomb out in 16th every single game. They are going central. They're playing the same game as usual, and lo and behold, they have a crate. I'll hold my tongue for a second because
these rotations, Rich, what is going on with FaZe?
The price. This is basically the old.
What are they doing?
This is the curse of a win, right? You come first and then you go out in 16 next game. It's just the curse. No, I do not accept this is a curse. Oh, that vehicle is going absolutely bonkers.
That might be cursed. I will say that vehicle is potentially cursed. And maybe if an aid finds it. But FaZe, this is not a one-off. They've had regular issues with rotations, and it seems to be another plagued issue for them in this game. The last game, we were mentioning, hey, none of them were lost out on rotation. This is excellent. This is what we wanted to see. That was their win condition, and that has gone. I am beyond frustrated with that because you can see what they can do and they're able to pull that off. It's very frustrating with such a good team, unable to pull it together on a regular basis. That aside, though, we have to look beyond that. Fuzzface is now pinned in. He's in a very tricky spot. Aitzie's probably going to try and bail him out somehow. I don't know if he can, but this is worrying times.
If you wanted to be hypercritical of this, one, they've taken all the main roads, which is always dangerous in itself. You're not taking any back roads, you don't have any cover. You're basically open and exposed to anyone just at the wits end out the windows with an AR. Same goes for Fuzzface there on the main road, walks past a building. I think they should have thought ahead here that a team could potentially switch things up. I suggested that Campo Militar, we would see Avangar change things up, and they did. They spread on that western bank, and they have caused FaZe all kinds of frigging problems. They're down to 50%. We will move on with Bestaloch. Na'Vi here, finding Liquid just lingering in the distance. Centraled up as usual, so continuing to play their game, but Jempty is at the mercy of several players, different angles here. Ibby will smoke him up. That nade, however, that's a long ball.
Bounce could have been a little further, maybe hoping to still by that tree, but Na'Vi not going to outstay their welcome. Obviously, Team Liquid do have players in place. Samty's position is quite curious. I'm wondering what angle he could... Oh, what a shot! It was Samty who claimed it, started by Ibby. And Samty's position, this is what I want to talk about with Team Liquid.
They're pushing it, Lauren.
Yeah, and of course, they're feeling confident. Pokemon is pulling up there to try and potentially provide some sort of stem for the bleeding, but I don't know if this is the right thing to do. You don't expect a team to flex off the back of it, but look at the nades. Here they come. The nuke's about to strike. One comes down, doesn't quite find it, but this one, just trickling short, but they are so close.
No fear, no hesitation, no regrets.
James has it in hand, and I know you love to see it. Jempty, let's see how close they're going to get here. Pokemon actually puts down a nice little nade. They know they're close, though. Jempty on that corner, and James about to crest round it. Na'Vi banking on presence from further back, but they're just not going to get the ball for peek over the ridge. James unleashes hell. The trade comes in from Bestaloch, but by this point, they are not close enough to be able to do much beyond that. And was that a nade? No, it was a smoke. Oh, my Lord. For a second, I got a little worried there.
So they do press the advantage. Initial frags do go out.
What is this circle?
And they do manage to keep 4 players alive. Unfortunately for Na'Vi, they'll just be left to bleed out. Na'Vi coming into this one. I believe they were up there with the rest of them. No, excuse me, they were 11. So difficult times here. Just feeding the monster that is Team Liquid. Circle, you touched on it.
Oh no.
It does shift. I'll see if he survives this one before we talk about it. No. Avangar, you are just being cruel players.
It may be FaZe's circle, but it's certainly not their game. Losing out on a player there.
Stolen.
Stolen by Besiktas. Good for them. That's a lovely bit of position. FaZe was trying to get to 8C, but I do want to look at this later, is how Team Liquid approach their splits, and I think they are literally the best team we're currently seeing in Europe. I think we still need to see if that translates to the bigger picture, Rich. We were talking about this morning. They are dominating here, but we also saw Ence dominating throughout the group stages. Throughout the, not necessarily the group stages here, but in the normal league, they looked good. They looked very good. When it got to those final moments in the bigger competition, they faded away. So I do want to see if Team Liquid, if this is just an upward trajectory for them now, or if this is it. We're going to find out in a second, as Besiktas are pulling up on the remainder of FaZe. 8C's in here, but we saw 8C before holding ground very well. Simsy, Tomil, Lux, do they know this? They're going to find out soon. Pre-fire on the corner does not pay off. And now he's got 3 players. One by one they come, and one by one they might fall. This is a very nice angle, but they've flooded through. Oh, 8C gets the double. He looks for the third. 2 bullets left, hits the reload. It's too little, too late. Toma is there, but what a display. What a try. You can imagine what could have happened if Fuzzface had made it alive.
It's so scary how many times, I mean, for FaZe, we see one player alive, but when it's 8C, what he can do in a 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3 environment is just disgusting. Ence, you spoke about them. 2 players on the back of the bike. They should commit to this one. What damage can they do? Initial one. It's slung off the back. It'll just continue to get the hell out of there. There'll be no response on that one. Anime Lord wants to stay alive. He's got some open ground to cover. Is he actually going to try and go for this, or is he just going to heal up? I believe he just heals up, and then he'll be back on the back of the bike and continue onwards. You'll hear more bullets in the distance. The tab. Recrent, no chance whatsoever.
These are some really tough rotations. So many teams getting called off on them right now.
The problem is this circle, all right? We're not at the kind of water multiplier yet, but it will come into effect when we speak about that wall on the western front. The cliff face basically drives this circle towards the east. How far, we don't know. It could land anywhere at the moment. We'd expect it to ping pong or bounce between Alcantara and maybe El Pozo. Crater Fields, we do sometimes just to the left-hand side of them get a circle ending there. There is a couple of mountainsides. If there's any of those that are inaccessible terrain, which you can see on screen, there isn't at the moment on top. They will shift away from them. This is going to be an interesting one. A lot of teams at the moment are banking on this going central or down south. I say south. Honestly, I think this is because of Na'Vi. Everyone's just being magnetized towards them. They're kicking things off on top of a hill. They need to be careful, though. If they make too much noise, they have Zen on one side and Ence in the background.
Yep.
If Ence want to make landfall and take them out, that's an easy 2 points, potentially, because Squeaky, he's already in there at the door.
Yeah, Squeaky's really close by.
So now this is where it gets fun, Lauren, because now you know it's going to shift away from the cliff face. This just got hella dangerous, and you know it's going to basically sink itself in the middle somewhere around Trailer Park. All these teams will just bank for the middle and pray it comes their way. This is going to be a very bloodthirsty game.
Wow. Okay, so Se7en have instantly moved. You can see a couple of teams saying, no, we are not messing around, we're not waiting, we need to get in now. There isn't going to be much room left, and they need it. So Se7en have already moved up. You do see the Jokers having issues on their rotations, maybe a bit of a problem coming out of the car. It looks like they pulled up themselves towards the eastern trailer park. Besiktas could flex into this. They could just springboard off the back of it. You've got Tornado Energy, Liquid, Digital Athletics, all taking similar rotation routes here. It looks like the pull-up is from Gemty, unleashing bullets. And any of them going to find a home? I couldn't imagine a worse place to pull up, but there is a saving grace of the Northern Lights. And Gemty now better get moving.
Have you ever seen a man jump in a car and just hit reverse as quickly as that? 3D Max, they are inside. Bambaki goes down in the kill feed. Snoopy does get the knock and confirmation with the SLR. 1 point goes to Avangar. Easy peasy for them. Where's that? Okay, they're all the way on the east, just watching NLT out towards the blue. The blue isn't on there. Actually on them yet, but is on their backs. They need to be aware. Team Liquid, though, are going to be actually up against it when we speak about Tornado Energy. They are going to be crushed against the white side of the circle.
Yep.
And basically playing off of one angle. Yes, there is a positive factor in the fact that no one's behind them and they know that they can hold W and play forward. However, it is a very slight ridge line, so they'll be able to see if Tornado Energy start kicking off shots. I think he's either going to get any kind of gear that he needs. We did see a knock earlier on from one of the players. I can't remember if it was him. They'll just upgrade, get any smokes on meds or anything that they need, see if there's anything kicking around them. Because they've got some time and they can look across the road from the elevated angle that they have and provided by that hillside. Ence are actually out in the blue. Down south, it's going to be so damn difficult because Zen have basically set up an entrapment and are going to play border control. You will see Eki here on your screen. Right behind it on the opposing side of the road, it's basically just a funnel.
So Athletics on the move there. That's a beautiful death, receiving a lot of attention from Tornado Energy as they're trying to go the similar area as Northern Lights. But the thing is, the Digital Athletics have 2 other players pulled up. So, oh my god, he actually got it in the end. The fire coming in from other directions certainly helped out. A beautiful death goes down, because look at Sixmo and Mert. They're actually not too far off here. I thought they could have helped out their teammate, but maybe he just didn't quite make it far enough. And all those shots on the way certainly held them back. Quizzy trying to pull up here as well. This is going to be so brutal in this area.
Someone does have an eye line on this one.
Sam's still there. That's the mini from him.
I actually like what Compot's doing and getting to a different angle to maybe pick these up. If anything, just be able to confirm them, which he does. By pushing up where he has done, this stops NLT being stolen away from them. He can confirm those kills. The circle, it slots in and it goes towards the north. This is a rather hard shift. We said it'd be going kind of somewhere in that gap where there is the strut out on the western wall. I did not expect it to go in that far up north. Everyone down south is going to have the fight of their life.
They certainly will, but it's the teams mostly, in my eyes, on the east. In the west, you've got Se7en, 3D Max, and Zoekt Een Naam, but they've got to be careful of themselves. That southeastern side has Avangar, Besiktas, Digital Athletics, Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, Team Liquid. This is very, very scary. This is the angle that Compot had that you liked and you were talking about. Really, really good work. This plays well for Besiktas. They can play Gatekeeper and Desperados up in the north, forced into fight against NIP, but they're catching off the Jokers as Na'Vi are engaging towards Ence. The Finns are suffering at the hands of the CIS giant. Aduzi and Senya, both there, keeping them in the low ground, making it very hard for them to find a way out. Dancing on the timing of Doozy with a quick peek on the corner. That's so good. I love that he didn't lean. He went on the quick peek, just stepping back into it. That's so nice. That's very good mechanical play. And the rest of Ence know they're pretty much stuck. Na'Vi can fall back to that little hillside, get the reloads, and keep them pinned.
And what you're watching now is textbook what we're in. This is the essentially the mini meta. It's the DMR meta. There's so much damage at range, and more importantly, you can just confirm the knocks instantly, mop them up, which is what a sniper rifle or a bolt action necessarily cannot do. Yes, you do have these bolt action boys that can do so much damage and cause pivotal points where you can take a face or remove a helmet and just be a damaging nuisance. But it's the minis that the absolute nail in the coffin when we look towards Ence. They're out. That's a low placement, 15th for them. 3D Max, they're the ones that may fall at the
Team
crunch way
Liquid
now.
are on the move, Bridge. They're going to just try and send it in. They're going. They are flooding into this. Quizzy does find Samty en route. Nice work from him. But they pulled up into another battle. Gemty's in the middle of the open. Samty is flush. Jeans on the run on the bike, trying to just get into some sort of safety. And they might have potentially made it. Incredibly surprising, but more so is that Digital Athletics have just been eliminated in 14th.
Avangar have decided to make their mark here. They had to move away from the blue, and they've hit the backside of the Jokers. The Jokers are in a rough area at the moment. They can be seen by two different teams. Desperados, okay, they've only got one kill so far, but by holding the northern edge of the circle, nobody's in that vicinity. Provided it goes somewhere, they've got an open ground they can run and plenty of cover to do it. However, Ibiza, he's knocked United. They've pulled up at the side. Zen's trying to make a run, but Kravik shutting it down.
Shot. That is so nice with the AK. Good control on that. Looking for more, though. The rest of his teammates and everyone else is piling in on this. This is potential points. Spraying in with a mini, trying to hope for a connection. Tap in away. And we are seeing this time and time again. Crab is doing wonders.
In the blue.
This is nice work from Se7en. They are holding that western side. And the tires are not looking so good. That vehicle is not looking so good. Aduzi's in trouble. He's pulled up. And that's not. He's gone.
He clipped the backside of them. They did try to make it happen. They're also a little bit weak because they just touched the edge of the blue. Meanwhile, we will go back to Team Liquid. It'd be cruel not to. I'm not entirely sure how many's left standing. It might just be Jeems. Oh my word, helmet ripped off his face. Heels go up. Grenades from the opposing side. On either side, should I say, go down. He does get the men off in time, though, and stays alive. But it's this fight on your screen. Calder Monster hits the deck. 61 damage to the head comes out. And the circle, it's cruel to them. Only Unity, Liquid, and NIP inside.
And this is a big answer for Unity. After the last game, they suffered. They did not have the game they wanted. Now it's their time for vengeance. But Se7en still hold plenty of cards in the south. Loads of players alive and well within that top 5 position. They kind of got pushed aside by FaZe, but we saw what happened to them. Now in the east, Jokers, Avangar looking for good placement, but sadly they've been ripped to shreds. Limb from limb, they've fallen, and it's just Snoopy left alive. Besiktas still stand there. They could do damage, and NIP also in a good spot. That northeast fight is going to be very deadly, but Se7en looking to bank some more bodies as Buster is the man to be bolstering the numbers.
This is exactly what Se7en need to do. Once they clear the last pieces of the puzzle from 3D Max, they then have...
James is about to potentially die.
They might be able to get themselves a clean run into the circle. NIP, however, it's time for them to move, but Desperado's pulled up early. They pushed into the, again, playing edge here. It's paying dividends, but there is a response. And this time it's Unity. From an elevated building line, they've managed to steal the kill. The rest of Desperado's now pulling up on the backside of that one, but it could be too little too late. They've lost one. They keep 3 alive because now they have to take on 2 other teams that also have 3. NIP, excuse me, the Jokers, after all the bloody damage that's been done to them, they've been battered, they've been bruised, but they've kept 4 up.
This is a really good game for Besiktas as well. They want to push up from 7th. Look how close those points are. This is the perfect game for it, and they still have a lot of players standing. This could be a big jump for them. Same can be said for Unity, trying to get maybe up towards FaZe's position right now. This could be a big game for them. That aside, though, we're looking towards NIP, down in 13th place, certainly holding on to numbers here, though. NBS finding Moon is a really good start.
NIP have really spread out, so unfortunately for the Jokers, they are struggling to find a very clear point of entry to the circle, and the fact that Desperados and Unity are also on a hillside, they are just open. Every single team looking down from the west can see them. This is going to be difficult. The grenades finally come down. Another team also that has to make a push up here. It's Besiktas. And because Tornado Energy moved early, they now hold the front line and only Ultra is standing.
Oh, Gaxi, what a shot there as well. Just spraying. Jokers are gone. Besiktas are down to their last few. And it's not looking so good. Tornado Energy are kicking off this game. It may not be a big placement for them, but it could jump them up the table, certainly. At the end of the day, though, we still have Jeems alive. We still have Se7en alive. We still have some of Unity alive. Se7en are in a phenomenal position here, if I'm honest. We've got a 2-2 split going on. They hold complete control of that western southern side. Ultra in danger. Compot and X team very close by. There's a third man here too, and there's the nade. Besiktas go down, and that could have been their opportunity to jump up here, and that's just been denied.
It was a really good approach from Tornado Energy. They moved early, which essentially got ahead of the pack when we looked towards Besiktas. Besiktas, I think they double questioned themselves. They were looking towards the battles that were going on in the north. They knew and they could hear the Jokers were unfortunately falling victim to this. They kind of questioned themselves, in my opinion. Did they want to get involved in it or did they go forward? In that amount of time by doing so, Tornado Energy, they got ahead of the game. They stood in front, they stood their ground, they got the kills, and more importantly, they keep 3 up. Circle, little bit of a Western touch to it, but not too bad. However, bullseye in the middle. We have one building. You would say this is going to be in the next circle as well, and that's held down by Unity.
Yeah, they still hold, you know, king of the hill position, but I'm still looking at that western side. Se7en, to me, are more than a dark horse now. They are looking very good for this one purely due to numbers, but it could be shredded here. We know that Jeems is still that snake in the grass. You still have those Unity players. 3D Max could potentially play spoiler. The eastern side is about to compress as well, with NIP having to move forward towards the Desperados and Tornado Energy being pressured by Unity. Unity are not really, or what remains of Unity aren't really relenting here either.
Desperados have got an interesting choice to make. Do they commit to NIP and deny them any further grounds in the circle? Or do they try and take a grasp on the north? For me, you've got to kill NIP at this point. Take that low ground, because the north, it's going to be difficult to come down should the circle not be favorable to you. Se7en is going on a 2-1-1 split to give a larger area that they can work off the back of. But I honestly think they need to take this fight. They remove NIP, and then they have the lay of the land pretty much for the entire quadrant of the circle.
Tornado Energy starting to challenge towards 3D Max. They are still alive in the southern side. Noki's there, Vargo's there, but on the cross, here comes the fire. Orange Snow finding a good couple of tags, but it's NIP confirming onto the kills. X-Team goes down, the trade comes in. Tornado Energy show their hand, and they get punished. The Desperados are waking up.
Tornado out of energy and out of luck, unfortunately. Lucky for some, number 7, they go down. How much damage was actually done and how much information was given to NIP is a completely different story, though. Vard is getting close. He's already spotted out one. It's a bit overzealous to have an SLR at that distance. Look for them now to be switching to the automatic weaponry and getting in the faces. Coldamenta is rather close, and he'll hold the front line. Orange Snow still trying to see what he can peek and poke out of this, because that's what Unity have been doing this entire time. As soon as they see someone skylining in the distance, they just get involved, which causes, all right, a knock or two. It might not be a confirmed steal and a kill and a point, but later down the line for these teams in the fights all the way on the back of the white, it could be their demise. Coldamenta again repositioned, but the rest of Desperados will follow as well.
I don't think they know how close Vard could potentially be, and both these teams are looking quite aggressive.
Shift.
Yeah, it's gone south here. That's going to throw complete mayhem towards the Desperados and NIP, and here's the engagement. Fake spotted out one, but didn't get the tags on it. Miraku instantly is there, but good positioning from Coldamenta, moving up further to try and offer up a trade, but third party from Unity coming in. You can't get away from it. In the meantime, Jeems did find Edelweiss. He's barely got anything, Jeems. I know his gear is completely shredded. The M249 is big, but so's that kill from Miraku. That's a flush as well, and NIP just completely dismantle the Desperados, and the north is theirs. RIP,
to be honest with you. They should have pushed that fight. They should have took the high ground. Liquid is gone. 5th position, couple of kills to boot as well. Another high one that must guarantee them first place. If it hadn't done before, then it definitely guaranteed is now. NIP, though, keeping 2 alive. This is pretty good. They can creep to the circle, but they are very, very open. This will be an exposed site. All right, it's downhill, but when you've got 3D Max, actually, in a response like that, I suppose it now gives you
right?
Yeah, it basically gives you an avenue of approach into the circle.
But now, while Unity's looking to the east and 3D Max are looking at NIP, Se7en again are turning the screws here. And look at the tag towards Orange Snow. They're keeping the cover down to allow Crab and Edelweiss to get closer. Buster is playing a good game. Crab's been going off the whole time. So suddenly, you cannot ignore the western front anymore. It's still very much a point of contest. With 4 teams, this is going to be very tricky for anyone to challenge someone with 4 players still alive.
Be aware, Elder Vice did actually pick up Jeems' weaponry, so a crate gun goes their way. They've now got a 249 in play, and again, when you've got it's 5.56 ammunition, it's just so much to play with. The flashes come up, so these are just a word of warning from Unity to let them know, maybe even just to try and fake them to move into their eye line. Sometimes when you hear a grenade coming your way, you do get scared and just move to the left or right, which gives you that line of sight. Smokes go up. He will use the trees for cover. But honestly, I think this is NIP's number red, because 3D Max are also looking, Lauren. And for them, it's just easy pick-up points.
It absolutely is. I'm loving the position from Edelweiss. We'll get to that in a second. Where did that just come from?
It's what we said, 3D Max. They saw this going on, and all of a sudden the Kobe from nowhere just throws them off the face of the planet, good lord, and another hard shift. This time, though, it goes the way of Se7en, and they are so spread across this circle.
It's incredible positioning from Edelweiss. He'd already pushed up earlier. I think he knows that that's pretty good a swing point for Unity. I don't know if he wants to face it on his own or if he wants to wait for support, but he's currently cutting the circle in half and going to force 3D Max to just tunnel in towards Unity, which is exactly what is happening. Vargo there gets a couple of shots towards Orange Snow, forcing the heal out of him, but 3D Max have their own problems here.
8 players left, 4-2-2. 3D Max going for the slower side. Again, the closer it is, the slower it will be. I'll try and run this one for now. They know if they head more towards the west, they're fully exposed and at the mercy of Se7en, or no mercy, should I say at all. They'll just open up on them. That grenade, though, this now warns them that directly in their line of sight, you will have Unity. Unity.
It's a nice position there. It's not in the circle. That's the one problem. So he's got to kind of shift back.
I'm surprised he didn't carry on that pressure, to be honest with you.
It's a nice angle.
Falling back like this might actually allow 3D Max in and cause them problems later game. They should have killed them, confirmed it, and took control.
Maybe they're hoping that Crab, Buster, or one of the other players is going to be able to kind of play covering role for them because they've given up so much territory now. But all of these teams, I think, can find relative safety and not be forced to fight just yet, which is probably going to be the factor. Because you always want to be that third team to the party, right? You want someone else to take on Se7en. You're going to try and force maybe 3D Max to do that, or for, the vice versa, because you know they'll have the upper hand. That entirety of the West is theirs.
I suppose that's the thinking, right? For Unity, it's fall back and make sure that Se7en isn't just working the way up behind us. There's only a limited amount of view when we talk about that long doorway that is, you can see the front, but the back is covered. Wago does find Orange Snow at the end, and for now, for 3D Maxes, take the second one out, claim another 2 points, and try and work your way up the board. This circle, it will hurt, it will chunk. 3D Max, they're forced to move.
They're going for it. They've got to make a run, right? They have to try and make a play, and that's a really good approach. They'll be forced to fight the other side. I think they'll lose vision on Se7en. They will have to fight Unity, but this could be their chance to potentially jump up. Unity, however, took their time, and they are getting the reward. Vargo's gone down, and now the nade gets it. Noki's down to 1 HP here. Nothing really on him. He can't even heal, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he has any meds, but now the next problem arises. Se7en is at the door, and they are not going to let this one slip away.
Oh, nice, will hold the angle. 2 of them do need to come through this limited. They're basically just funneled now. Tunnel vision, unfortunately, costs him. Gets caught by Orange Snow. Unity do the damage. And Edelweiss, he just holds this angle and basically waits for them to arrive.
Oh, Orange Snow, though, not going to go down without a fight. Finds Edelweiss. They're going to try and fight this one out, and why not? Put up the numbers. Give it everything you have. Oh, Orange Snow! What a shot coming out!
What's happening?
They are not going down at all. Se7en finally fight back. You have Crab getting a shot through. It's brought it down to a situation favorable to Se7en here. Frangario and Crab still stand. Smoke's in this. Can he isolate these 1v1s, or is it too little too late? He currently has it back to the blue, but a good tag, but it's not good enough. 1 HP and the blue is creeping forward. He knows his days are numbered. He's fought a good fight, but Se7en, this team has come out of nowhere. This was never meant to be their cup. This was never meant to be their tournament, and they are stealing it away from teams who are up in the Pro League. These guys are contenders, and they're winning out games. They're fragging out, and this isn't the first time.